Hey you guys, this is author Delisha. Welcome to my channel. If you are new, please feel free to subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you'll be notified every time there is a new upload. And today, this is just another story time. Yeah, you guys, this is a story time. This may be sad. This may be depressing. This may be disgusting. This may be one of the nastiest things that you could ever think about or hear or have heard, but believe it, they are stories like mine and others that are out there. And I just want to be um, honest, and I want to bring self-awareness to this situation. A lot of this happens to girls, guys, teens, adults. It does not matter. So that's the reason why I decided to come out to tell this story, because maybe my story will help somebody else or bring some type of light into another person's situation. They might know how to handle it if they end up going through this. And I just wanted to pretty much let y'all know my story. So this story has to deal with the first time that I had ever been molested by one of my own family members, which was my own father. Yes, you guys, I said my father. So let's get into this story. Okay. This story happened some years ago. I might have been somewhere between 4 and 5 years of age. Yes, y'all, I could remember back that far when I was that young, and it's vividly etched into my mind and into my brain. It's always there, and it's not as hurtful to talk about it. That's why I actually can sit here on camera and tell y'all about this, because I went through counseling. I was able to talk about it. I was able to heal, and I was actually able to forgive. So this is why I decided that it's my time for me to talk about it, air it out, let it into the world, because I've already let it go. So around this time, I was 4 or 5 years old. And I remember we were not staying in the area that I'm in now, but in a smaller little town. It wasn't really a city, but it was a smaller town. That's pretty much where I had grew up at. And at the time, I believe my mother was pregnant with my brother. And I remember it probably around maybe 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I was asleep in the bed. And the thing about me is, when I'm asleep, I'm not a heavy sleeper. I could pretty much hear anything else that's going on in the household, even though I'm asleep. It's not like I'm dead tired, dead to the world, where it's hard to move me or hard to wake me up. Any type of noise or anything that goes on, I'm up just like that. So I heard some footsteps coming down the hall. And y'all know how kids around that age sometimes would pretend that they're asleep, fake like they're asleep, just in case the parents is going to come back there and see, if you're in the bed, or to tuck you in the bed and kiss you on the forehead. It was kind of like one of those situations. So at that time, I was thinking, well, maybe it's my mom, walking back here to check on me. So I'm shutting my eyes like this. And you know how you kind of blink your eyes a little bit when you sleep? So it's kind of like that, even though, my eyes was closed and I was kind of fairly asleep, fairly woke. That's what type of mode I was in at that time. So thought it was my mom, but I heard a voice say, "Are you asleep?" And it was my dad's voice, but I didn't say anything. Next thing I know, you know how you could still feel breathing and a sensation or a feeling that someone is still in the room? I could tell that he was still in the room. And I heard when the door cracked, and I heard when the door closed, but I could still feel that he was in there. Not that he checked on me and closed my bedroom door. So I still was still, not moving, still had my eyes closed. Next thing I know, I feel the covers slowly moving down off of my body. Slowly moving down. And I still was just still and calm. Next thing I know, I feel his hand going up my legs. And I'm trying to stay still, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, what is he doing? Why is he rubbing up my leg? And at that time, I was asleep. I had a nightgown on. I remember it was a princess nightgown, Cinderella nightgown, whatever you want to call it. So it was kind of tickling. So I was trying not to move while he was rubbing my leg. It just, I was, a lot of kids then are very ticklish. And at the time, I felt like I wanted to move my leg, but I was just trying to still stay still and just still pretend like I was asleep. So finally, I feel his hand moving up a little bit farther, and it moves up to my bottom. He go rubbing my bottom, and I began to shift a little bit. I remember like kind of like moving, like I'm waking up, but I'm still pretending to be asleep. I'm trying to move because I'm hoping that if I move a little bit, he'll stop or he'll leave out. But he didn't. So then I feel his hands going up my back. It was like it was sliding my nightgown up, going up my back. And that's when I started opening my eyes up. Started opening my eyes, and I remember turning my head and looking at him. And I just had this puzzled, blank, confused look on my face. Like, when you get that gut feeling like something is wrong, something is not right, this is not supposed to be happening. That was the feeling that I was having. Like, Daddy, what are you doing? Like, you've never done anything like this to me while Mama was around. So why are you trying to do something like this to me now? And that's what I was thinking. But at that time, of course, kids are scared of their parents. So I was scared to say something. So he tells me to turn around and to just look at him. So I look at him and I noticed that he had his shirt on, but he didn't have no pants on, no bottoms. He just had on tidy whities. He had on tidy whities. He was not one of those dads that wore the briefs or wore the boxers. It was mainly tidy whities that he would wear. And I seen something sticking up. My eyes got big, like, what in the world is that? Young kids do not know. They do not know. They don't know. You want to like, what is that sticking out, of your undies? But I didn't say anything. So I see him start pulling his undies down, and he start pretty much ejaculating while he's just watching me, rubbing on me. He didn't get me to do too many acts to him other than put my hand across his hand while he was ejaculating and rubbing across my body. So it was mainly like fondling. It was like, of course, when you're that young, it's not like you have breasts. It's not like you have a big bottom or anything like that. Of course, you have a private part, but it's not mature. Definitely not mature for penetration or anything like that. So it was mainly fondling at. So after that, he told me to turn around towards my wall. So I was turned like this way, but on my stomach. And this is where I couldn't see what he was doing, but I could somewhat hear what he was doing, which I could still hear the movement of his hand while he used his other hand to rub from my neck down to my back to my bottom, and that's where he would basically grip and grasp my butt. A couple minutes went by of him ejaculating, and that is pretty much when I felt something wet hit my butt. Like, what in the world? Like, what's this wet on me? I just felt something wet, like it was running on me. Still didn't know what it was. At this moment, he told me to get up, and there was a bathroom that was right there, um, beside my bed, beside my bedroom. So he told me to get up, and we went into the bathroom, and this is where he got a washcloth and washed me off. And in the midst of him washing me off, he was telling me, you know, baby girl, don't tell your mama about this. I'll take you out to get a toy. I'll take you out to get some candy. And this is where I found out that my mother was not even home. Come to find out, my mother was actually in the hospital, and she had gave birth to my brother. So that's why my mother didn't walk in. That's why my mother didn't catch it. I was too scared and too afraid to say anything or to tell my mom, because I thought, you know, my dad was like the provider. He was like the alpha omega dog. He was feared. He was very, very strict. Even though we was like raised in church and all that, he was very strict, and he was the one that mainly handled punishment or beatings or whatever. My mom was never one of those moms that really did beatings. You know, you might get smacked, you might get popped or something like that, but she was never one of them that was really, really, really strict. So I'm sitting there, you know, just saying yes, sir, because at that time, you know, I was one of them kids that said yes, sir, yes, you know, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, or whatever. So I'm just listening to basically what he was telling me, you know, because I'm just scared of my life. Like, what is he whopping off of me? And you know, I was confused. Like, why is he washing me? And why couldn't I tell my mom? You know, and stuff like that. So with so many thoughts that were going through my mind, but I was not voicing any of those thoughts to him. Now, that is pretty much how that story ended. And the moral of that story is, if you ever go through a situation like that in your life, does not matter how old you are, does not matter how afraid you are, it doesn't matter if your mother do it to you, your father, your uncle, your cousin, your friend, the principal, the teacher, whomever, somebody, it could be a babysitter, doesn't matter who it is. The moral of that story is, if you ever run into that type of situation where someone is touching you, touching any of your private parts are most definitely the parts that are covered up by your clothing. Tell your mother, tell your father, tell your grandparents, tell your teacher, tell your principal, tell your counselor. Make sure that you tell. You never know what may happen. You know, I have heard stories where some people have actually told, and sometimes their parents didn't believe them or whatever, but you never know what may happen. But it's best for you to tell than to hold it in and not say anything at all, and to not tell anyone. That probably will be one of the worst decisions, because what I've learned is molestation, it never pleases whoever it is that's doing it to you. Sooner or later, it can progress to worse scenario, and it also can progress to you getting raped. So you do want to, you know, you could tell the police anything, you know, but when you're young, you're probably not going to be thinking about a police. But you're probably just going to be afraid or scared you're going to get a beating, or think you done something wrong, or think you said something wrong. But In reality, you didn't. So that's the moral of my story. I wanted to just close this story out like this. If you did like this story, make sure you like, love, subscribe, comment down below, give me feedback. I may leave the comments on or I may disable the comments. I'm not sure. Feel free to share this video, and thank y'all for joining in. See y'all next time. Goodbye.